Live, I hope. Are we live? Can everyone hear us? We are here from the studio in hometown of Swinford. We're going to be doing a YouTube live, but we thought we'd go live on Instagram as we've been doing over the last number of lives on YouTube, and it seems to be working. Build up a little bit of a crowd. We are telling your followers that you are starting a live video. Is anybody in? The ceremony is about to begin. All those unseated will await the next show. We filed slowly and languidly into the hall. The auditorium was vast and silent. As we were seated and were darkened, the voice continued. The program for this evening is not new. You've seen this entertainment through and through. You've seen your birth, your life, your death. You might recall all of the rest. Did you have a good world when you died? Enough to base a movie on? I don't know why I went into that Jim Morrison rant.
Why not?
Why not is right. Jim Morrison was the man. Dermo, can you hear us? Hope you're all doing well. We're going to do a Dead Hedgehogs YouTube live, but we thought we'd come on the Instagram first. I don't know if you've heard the first couple of seconds of the Instagram live because it's taken a while to load up. Creamy fucking pints, DM Taylor. Oh, stomp.
We're going to be talking
about
pints.
Creamy pints in the YouTube live, which is also on that camera over there. And about the great effects of creamy pints and also the bad effects of creamy pints. Paul, is everybody in? Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The ceremony is about to begin. Obviously, another Jim Morrison fan. Actually, I don't talk about Jim Morrison enough. He is one of my idols, whether you could call Jim Morrison an idol or not. Irish Newfoundland Bear, thank you for joining us on the YouTube channel, which we will be going over to very soon. Hello from Montreal, Canada. Hello, Montreal, Canada. Cormac Hickey, fair play to you, Chief. You've been to a few shows. Hop over to the YouTube live and we will chat away there, so we will. I'm suffering from yesterday. Tim, I'm suffering from Friday night. Have I tried Forged Irish Stout? Yes, I have. Of course I have. I've done videos for them. But I will be talking about that later on. Cowboy, your whiskey gets better with age. I don't know about that, but thank you very, very much. Kent, how are things with you? I haven't checked in with you in a while, but I will be checking in very soon. We will get, and I will explain everything on the YouTube channel, what's been happening and how fast things are going, how slow things are going. And we'll get there. We'll get there in the end. So pop over to the YouTube live. We will chat over there. Head to the bio on the Instagram page. You will find it there. And we will chat. Get involved. Chat with us. Comment on our page. The more people that get involved, the more crack we'll have. So we'll talk to you over how are things in Ohio. Be well. And head over to the YouTube live and we'll talk to you over there. Thanks for joining in.
See you there, guys. See you over on YouTube.
Now,
guys, welcome to the Dead Hedgehogs.
That was a nice bit of strumming there.
My name is Chris Gavigan. This is Stephen Kelly.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Welcome to our YouTube live.
And if you're watching this later on, thank you very much for watching later on.
Very kind of you.
Very kind. So I'm just going to, do you know what mistake I made?
What?
Do you know what a mistake? I done this last week, right?
Yeah.
And I had the phone down like that.
Oh, okay? Yeah.
The last time we done a YouTube live,
they're
someone texted me and it's a six digit code, and someone said, "Send me my PIN."
They're eagle-eyed. They are eagle-eyed.
He said, "Do yourself a favor, cowboy. Change your password because I can tell you your password." So that was like, and when I look back on it, you could just about make it out, but you could make it out. So thank you very much to that person for letting me know.
Yeah, that was,
and I did change
pretty
it.
Cool of them.
I did change it.
Okay.
So it's been a while since we've done a YouTube live.
It has.
Colin O'Reilly, what is the crack?
Man. He's a man.
Where have you been gone? Where have you been gone? Where have you been gone?
Where have you been gone from us? Why you been gone?
I haven't seen you in ages. Would love
James, welcome
would love a pint
from
with you.
Where
James
in the world
P.
is that?
Cheers, lad. The Instagram world. Is it real or is it not? Or is it like Leitrim? Doesn't exist. which I caused a bit of a scene today. I thought that was a very soft video, and I do know that there was a few houses damaged in that, but I don't think.
Did that get?
Oh, it did, yeah. Yeah, not as much as we'll say the Tinker one or the LGBTQ one or the immigrants one, but definitely caused a bit of a stir. How are things, Jade? Are you well? We've been missing you. The mighty Balladrine. The mighty Balladrine. It's like the Gaza Strip of the west of Ireland.
It sure is. Only Roscommon haven't bombed them yet.
No, or we haven't bombed Roscommon. But there's still time. I'm still in the west. We have to have pint, lads. We do.
100%.
Are you still in Castlebar, or are you allowed to say? What's your address? What's your phone number? Your PIN? I want all the information.
Colin. Yeah, PPS number would be nice as well.
Yeah, the whole works. So we have a few people on. That is great. Kent, want to know more about Chris's crazy nightclub vacation?
Oh,
what's this about?
I was talking to Kent on Instagram, and I was telling him about being in France. I went playing handball.
Yes, and you done well.
I done well, yeah. And then I done well to find my way home at 8 o'clock in the morning.
No way. And this is us meant to be on a health kick.
Yeah.
That hasn't kicked in yet, really. But it is. It's starting to slowly.
I'll be honest. It wasn't my fault. It was the booze and the drink.
It was blowing into your stomach.
It just happened. I just happened to be very, very enjoying it. Is that the right? That's a bad sentence. But
bad sentence, but I get what you mean. I know what you mean. That's like a Freudian slip.
Shelby goes, Steve, do you need a wife?
Do I need a wife?
Do you also need a headache?
If you only knew my story, you wouldn't even ask that question. Yeah. And in 1 week, you'd want to get rid of me anyway. So
I want to get rid of you.
You want to get rid of me. Everyone wants to get rid of me after a while. I am a bit of a handful.
It's good. It's good to see you, mate.
I know. We've been busy. I feel like I've been a busy fool, and do you know what? A lot to do with that. A health kick takes time. You're dead right, Dino.
Fact.
Probably because as soon as I'm getting into it, and that's what we want to talk about tonight. As soon as I'm getting into a role, there's a night out. Like I was getting into a role, and more these days, after a good session, it's taken 2 or 3 days, where it used to take a day, or it used to take maybe a day and a half to get over it. Or sometimes you might even there was no come down. Now it's 2 or 3 days, and I mean literally. You know what I'm like after drinking.
Oh, it's horrendous. To be honest,
it's a mind fuck.
I'll be honest, it's annoying watching you.
Yeah,
just watching
everything is like in slow motion.
Yeah,
and even my videos that I put up on Instagram to keep the pages going and whatever, you can tell
if you've been on the session.
If I've been on the session, if you really look back on them, you can tell.
You can see it in your eyes.
You can see it in my eyes. You can see it. I'm slow. I talk faster. Some words are sort of nearly even slurred.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and that's the downside of drink.
Yeah.
But again, you feel like you have to feed, and you nearly feel that you have to overcompensate by putting up videos, and when you could have just left it a day or two and then done it right. So,
look, if you we announced that we were doing a video blog series that hasn't really kicked off yet, mostly because of some of the personal engagements that you've had, and then obviously some personal stuff that Peter has had to deal with. That's kind of pushing off track.
Yeah,
you might actually take down that box and that glass.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That
was only there to hold up the camera.
Make it look nice, real high tech, for
real high tech stuff here.
Yeah, like the drinking is brilliant crap. I like having in the moment. There's nothing better.
Oh yeah, in the moment, there's nothing better, and
that's the false illusion
with the right crowd. Yeah, positive energy. Drink is a curse. Haven't drank in 5 years. It kind of is a curse. I love it. I love the crack, but we'll get more into that in a while. Ken says absolutely can't tell. His eyes look empty. You're 100% right.
100%.
100%. My brain isn't functioning properly. There's been a lot of videos, and a lot of them do well. There's been a lot of videos that could have done even better.
Yeah.
if I had been in the right frame of mind for it. But then again, there's been one or two that just went nuts. Like literally, you have to hit it the next morning,
Yeah.
where there's no thinking involved, and your eyes are still you're still in good form. But if you let that come down happen,
Yeah.
it's horrible. And worse it's getting. Um, what drink sends me over? You see,
Can I tell you
what?
what I found now?
What?
I actually feel gross after too many pints.
Yeah,
I just feel manky
slow.
altogether,
Yeah,
slow, sluggish. I find the body finds it really hard to more so than if I stuck to vodka or if I stuck to whiskey or if I stuck to gin and I had a couple of gin and tonics. Pints just send me into this weird, horrible.
for the next day.
I feel fucking smelly almost
Yeah,
from the
I
drink.
do get you. Like that. Like I said, I love the creamy pints.
Of course.
They're a great starter, but after you've had 12, 13 of them, uh, the next day you're slow, you're bloated, um, you're in bad
Mark
form.
McCann says a dip in the sea saw any
Oh,
hangover.
you're 100% right,
100%
Mark.
right there.
You're 100%
No
right.
matter what time of year.
Yeah,
More so
yeah,
this
yeah.
time of year.
More so this time of year. But what's drink sends me over any drink at this stage. But I feel that I feel freer if I stick to whiskey or any like vodka.
Yeah.
I haven't drank vodka or gin in a while. Vodka was usually my spirit of choice. Um, sort of like my late teens because I started drinking very late. I was nearly 18, nearly 18.
Cheers, James. James
Thanks very much,
added
James.
a little super chat there.
Very good.
Really
Thank you. We
appreciate
haven't
that,
got
mate.
one of them in a very long time. I
Yeah, it's
suppose we
very
haven't.
kind
Yeah.
now.
So
That'll go to the Christmas party
it
now.
will indeed.
The Dead
Why
Hedgehog's
wouldn't it?
Christmas
Yeah,
party.
we must do it, and we'll have loads of creamy pints.
We'll live stream it.
No, but I feel a bit fresher and lighter. I know that one night myself and Pete, aka French Toast, had a night of just whiskey down in Cork after a show. It was a show that was on at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's the show that we were in Meath at like 2 o'clock. And next thing we realized that the show was 6 o'clock because we've never had done a show that early.
Yeah.
And never had a show that early. And like we just thought it was a misprint. Next thing I rang a man just to make sure, and he says, "No, it's 6 o'clock." And we were in Meath at it's still only 2 o'clock. We were having the breakfast.
Yeah.
From doing another show the night before, but we got down there. We did eventually get down there in the end. But that night then we done the show. We went for food. It was brilliant because the show was over at 8:30. We were still able to go for food. We met up with a couple of friends, went for food, and we just stayed on shots of whiskey. And the next day, believe it or not, I know this sounds crazy, but we were way better. We went for a run and everything. So I don't know. It's a tough one. It just all depends on what mood you're in, what you've eaten the day before,
the weather,
how fit you are, the weather.
Everything can have an effect on.
Yeah.
And the other thing is your body's different every day. So how it processes or handles, or if you've been on the beer for 2 or 3 days, you might be in the humor for drinking pints. The night of the Katie Taylor fight, after the session the night before, and we had great crack for most of that night.
Yeah.
The Katie Taylor fight, we had great couple of pints, but afterwards I was just absolutely knackered.
Yeah. Like, and we didn't
get cancelled now for saying that.
The night of the Katie Taylor fight, I was meant to go up to do something with Black Forge Stout, but it's on the Friday night.
Yeah.
But because, well,
Conor tweeted something.
Conor McGregor tweeted something, obviously during the riots, and the next day, and it got cancelled. Surprise, surprise. And I probably didn't help matters either. But so it got cancelled. So I was already in Dublin by the time it got cancelled. So we thought we'd make the most of it. Chris had already been up because you were at the Queens of the Stone Age concert. And you had a couple of other bits on.
Yeah.
And we had a brilliant night. But we had tickets from Eddie Hearn himself.
Yeah.
In the 3 Arena to watch the Katie Taylor fight and the whole thing. We were in the VIP section with Black Forge. We were given food beforehand. We were given loads of, as many as we wanted. Black Forge Stout, but we could only manage 5 or 6.
Yeah,
and that was it.
And
we could have gone more, but it would have ruined the night. We were knackered.
Oh, wrecked. But to be honest, if we went full bore on the free pints, I don't think I would have enjoyed them as much.
No. You're 100% right. Whereas maybe 10 years ago or 5 years ago, even,
Oh, the greed.
yeah, it would have been just.
It would have been so succinct.
But because again we had engagements, because I know now there's a fear before you even start drinking of what's going to happen in 2 or 3 days time, and it's not just the next day; it is 2 or 3 days
Yeah.
time. And I know that moment when it pings, when it leaves the system. Sometimes now it's not until Thursday, and then I'm flying. But of course, then there's something happening on the Thursday night or the Friday night or the next weekend,
Yeah.
and positive energy said, do I feel pressure? Can you go back to that message?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Where?
Oh, go up.
Up.
Yeah. I feel Stephen feels pressure to have the crack and drink. Is this true? To a certain degree, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I can't even, if like, I've had meetings, like business meetings or proper meetings about stuff that's happening, going to happen in 2024.
Yeah.
With people that I don't know. I'm just starting to meet, and I go in and ask for coffee. The faces
Yeah.
drop. Oh, I was so looking forward to having
a pint with you. Oh,
and it's
God.
like, and next thing you try your best, and next thing they're itching. You can tell that they just want that pint.
Yeah.
Even want a picture of you with a pint.
Yeah.
And next thing, suddenly, it's it's 6 o'clock in the morning. And you're still drinking, and and you're booked into the hotel, and it's
like,
fucking
the car's been thrown on a double yellow line for 14 hours.
And that's happened a few times. Like that happened in, and we still didn't do a podcast about America, which I really want to do because it was some experience. Myself, Martin Maloney, Pete, and Chris, our mate Chris Perez.
Chris Perez. Not me.
Went to check out a venue. That's all I wanted to do. Check out the venue, do a video from outside the venue. But the owner of the building, it was Fifth on Mad. He said, "Come on in," and he said, "And I'll give you some dinner." And this is at about 3:30, 4 o'clock. I don't know if I've mentioned this on any of the podcasts.
No, not yet.
This is about 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the day. So I said, "Sure, we'll check out the room. We'll get a bit of food." Next thing, he lands down one pint. He lands down another pint. Next thing, he wants us to try a couple of cocktails. Of course, we weren't going to say no to free cocktails.
Why would you? You're in America, sure.
In America, yeah. And remember, I wanted to do a video, but that all went out the window because there's a constant pressure. This is the creamy pint, man.
Yeah.
I made a rod for my own back, so suddenly it's 8:30 the next day. In the morning.
People are going to work.
You're
in the subway.
I'm not even in the subway. We're just outside. We're on 5th on Madison Avenue.
Yeah.
Like one of the busiest streets in New York. After doing nearly a full tour of that area, going from bar to bar, your man just wanted to, like, we didn't even have to put our hands in our pockets.
Yeah.
He just wanted to show us a good time. And of course, us from Ireland, the west of Ireland, we weren't going to let the site down.
No.
Oh my God.
That would be shameful to the country.
And it was like
the president would be called in.
It was just it got. I tell you how crazy it was. This is how crazy it was. Martin Maloney left at about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and went home.
Wow. Arthur Guinness is turning his grave.
Yeah. Now, and for Martin Maloney to leave, it was crazy.
But you were there a good 10 hours at that stage, really.
Yeah, 9 to 10 hours at that stage.
I'd say oh, that's crazy, but like, if I was there, I'd be well in the mix. I'd be 100% in the mix.
100%.
Having a great time.
100%. But then you're like, and then on top of that, like, yes, your man was flat out flashing the card, but I felt so bad that I started getting involved. Oh no, I get this one. And suddenly next thing you're $300 or $400 spent.
Gone. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What's you got? And you think you're class. You think you're unreal.
You're Billy Big Bollocks.
Yeah, but after 15, 16 pints and then cocktails and shots, you're a mess.
Yeah.
You're a mess.
Making daft decisions.
It's very rarely that you're not, but you think you're great. And the only way that anyone else thinks you're great is if they're in the same.
They're fucked as well. Yeah.
So anyone looking in, I mean, forget about it.
Yeah.
Forget about it. Like I was chatting with Farmer Michael on the voice notes over the last few days.
He doesn't drink at all now.
He doesn't drink at all now.
Yeah.
And we were at an event on Friday night in the Three Arena, another event in the Three Arena at
The PFL,
PFL.
MMA,
Yeah.
That was a good night.
It was a great night.
Good atmosphere.
Yeah, great atmosphere. It was good. I'm going to be involved in another one on Saturday night because I'm doing a show in the Button Factory on Friday night, and then I'm staying Saturday night and
Class.
going to the Cage Legacy. I was brought up by Cage Legacy. I'll be talking about that during the week.
Deadly.
So, and the last message I sent him was about 11:30, 11:45 at night.
Mm.
And I hadn't had much drink. I really didn't, because I had to be back down again in the morning. And even the message, like he replied about to the last message about 36 hours, 2 days later. And whatever he had said in it, I thought, I don't remember. I don't know what he's on about. So I had to go back to my own message, my own voice note, to listen to it. And I could barely make myself out.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, I
love it.
I could barely make my own voice out.
Yeah.
Now, I hate my own voice at the best time, but listen to yourself. They say if you listen or record yourself drunk,
it's fucking.
and I wasn't drunk.
horrendous.
The thing is, I wasn't even drunk.
You were just the effects of the drink had
effects of
made
the drink,
you
yeah.
into a bit of a melt. Oh, by the way, anyone that's watching at the moment, and if you haven't subscribed, you'll have bad points for the full Christmas. Just think. So if you want, make sure you subscribed and like the page and like the video.
Yeah.
Simple as.
yeah, please.
Please, thank you.
Yeah. So, no, that's exactly what it was.
Joe, it is like, well, look, I watched some of these videos back and I feel horrendous watching them, and you get used to it after a while. You just have to get on with it, like, because you're trying to make some content, you're trying to have the crack, try and build a following.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
You know, trying to make this place pay for itself. But like, when it's 10 times worse when you're fucking steaming. Like me and you have done lives on this channel where we've got absolutely blotto.
That's right. That wouldn't be the last time we were doing this. We were blotted. We got really
drunk,
and then we came into town and got extra drunk.
I'd say we had about 10 hot whiskeys that night.
Yeah, that was after being drunk.
Yeah,
which is no boast. I mean, it just sometimes they flow. Sometimes they flow.
We were watching the horse racing. We were live in the bar. Right. We got absolutely.
And that was because it was just after it was coming near Christmas, and the lockdown was coming out of lockdown, and they were loosening. Everyone could go to the pub until 11:30 or 12 o'clock at night or whatever, as long as you were distanced away. It was all bullshit.
We got rightly fucked.
Rightly. So remember what happened? So much fun. Remember what happened at the end of that? Okay.
This is so beautiful.
So at the end of that, the thing is, Chris probably, well, maybe a little bit further away from the town than my home house, but I said, come out to the house and stay in our house, and that was grand. But for some reason, we got split up in Swinford, and there was only a couple of places open. Yeah, but we got kind of split up. So you walked out, I walked out. We walked out. Now it's only 2 kilometers. So anyone that doesn't know kilometers in America, it's about 1.25 miles.
Yeah,
maybe 1.33 miles. Anyway, walking out, it was a wet night. It was cold. Yeah, it was cold. It was a cold night. I'd say it wasn't.
One of your neighbors gave me a lift out. One of the young lads,
did
the Forkin lads. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got the lift out. I could fucking walk. But whatever fucking happened on the way out, the sole of my shoe, the sole of one of my shoes, sort of came a little bit loose. How, I don't know. Right? These were, and I was just after buying them. They were like Ben Sherman or Tommy Hilfiger fucking boots, and whatever got into me, when I got out to the house, I took off my boots, brand new boots, by the way.
Yeah.
And threw them into the burning stove.
You threw one of them in.
I threw one of them in.
Yeah.
And the good one.
The good one. The other one with the hole in it, you didn't.
The one that came a little bit loose at the top, which I could have brought back because I still had the receipt, was still there. But the good one I fucked into the fire.
Yeah, that was great.
In the morning, in the morning, obviously the fire wasn't burning, like it was like embers.
It was embers
because when you opened the stove, there was a perfect imprint of ash.
Yeah.
There was a perfect imprint of ash of the boot. As if it had just like disintegrated.
Yeah,
but
it just
was like
melted into a
it was like
lump.
Pompeii.
Yeah. But you know what the funny thing was? I was leaving the next morning. I was like, oh God, why am I here?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and your mother goes to me, goes, do you know anything about that boot in the fire? And I was like, was it mine? And I looked down, and my shoes are still on, and I was like, I don't have a clue. And I just went home. I just thought it was the most normal thing in the world at the
Yeah,
time.
I just left it there in the fire. Don't know what I was thinking.
Dino goes, they could get sponsored by Red Bull Extreme Pubbing.
That'd be something.
That would be hard.
And us trying to drink responsibly.
We do it in memory of Shane MacGowan,
We will.
who
Yes,
is
we will.
probably
Yeah.
the original extreme pubber.
Yes, the pure legend of. You see,
Oh,
the thing is, the drink, especially in Ireland, it's so romanticized,
yeah,
right? There's a romantic nature to it, and there is a romantic nature to it.
But
There's
there's
so many stories and brilliant stories. Listening to your uncles, your father, your older people telling the stories about it, and I think it was more romantic years ago.
yeah.
Heading out and driving was more acceptable then, and I think there was like,
Well, there was no worries about getting
There was-
home.
yeah,
You just go home.
yeah, exactly. Or you walked home, or the car would break down, and you'd have to walk. And they are true stories. Like you'd have
Yeah.
to walk 10 miles home, and there's none of that now.
No.
Very rare. And some of the crack they used to have, some of the pranks they'd have on the way
Yeah.
home,
Yeah.
like it was genuine crack and no malice intent. Now there's a little bit of like malice involved, and
Yeah, well, young lads might be stabbing each other.
yeah, well, that's
over
things like
something
that, little altercations like that.
Yeah, you know yourself.
Um,
Back in the day, good old dust up
but
might happen.
that's to do with drugs as well.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, there was no drugs, especially in the west of Ireland back
Yeah.
then. Maybe a bit of whatever. But now it's gone a little bit extreme. But that's for another podcast. But
Emax C says, off the drink nearly 10 years. Plan was originally to sit in for a month. Fair play to you, mate.
Yeah,
Absolutely fair play. Anyone that's made a life and that's what they want to do. Brilliant.
Male or female?
But either way, like it's
because you naturally think that's a man.
Yeah.
Could
easily
be a female.
Well, female drinking has changed significantly over the years. Like,
definitely.
Like,
definitely. It's not just a male problem now.
No.
And we see, we're also romanticize drink, but also it is detrimental to your mental function.
Well, like obviously we all have ideas of trying to be as productive as possible and trying to get stuff going. And I went on this session last Friday because it came to 3:00. I was like, do you know what? I've had a good week. Fuck it. So I rang the brother and I said, do you fancy a few pints in town?
Yeah.
He's like, fucking brilliant. He's delighted.
Yeah.
We literally hit every pub in town.
Yeah.
It was,
which wouldn't be hard done these days.
No,
but it's still an accomplishment.
I was grand. We had a mighty bit of crack, to be honest. And no, it wasn't an awful late night or anything like that, but it was enough.
Yeah.
And it was, but like the next day, I was just like because I had plans for Saturday to get some work done. And I was like, at the moment, with setting up a new company and stuff, I just want to get things going quickly. So I'm putting the extra hours. And fuck me, could I get anything done on Saturday?
Yeah, but it is that thing as well, that there's this Irish mentality that you work hard Monday to Thursday now. It used to be Monday to Friday, maybe have a few on Friday night, have a half day on Saturday, but then you reward yourself. But now it's like, if you do anything good, if you go for a long run, oh sure, I had a long run today. I might treat myself to 5 or 6 creamy pints.
Positive Energy asked, do you ever tried Guinness Zero and pretend to be drinking? I've never pretended to be drinking when I'm not drinking.
No, I couldn't do it.
But
I'd rather not try at all.
Well, I've had a couple of pints of Guinness Zero. It's okay for 2. I think they're just a bit too sweet for me.
I wouldn't do it. I've had a taste of it. I haven't had a full pint of Guinness Zero, and it's not that.
It's actually not too bad.
I make fun of people like Rockshore drinking. Sure, that's the same thing as not drinking at all. Or Guinness Zero. But yeah, I commend people that genuinely, can go out and have a Guinness Zero for whatever reason. They don't want a bad head, or there's something on in the next day. Personally, I'd rather not go out at all, but I'd love I'd love to get into a position or a place in my head that I could go out for a night out and not have any drink at all, two or three even. Because the problem is, if I have two or three, it's the mood changes. It's out
Yeah,
of
yeah. Fuck it.
grand,
Everything's
which is a kind of alcoholism.
yeah, yeah.
You know, if you cannot walk away after two or three, that is there is a
Hundred
problem there.
percent.
That is a
But I think,
type of alcoholism.
but it's not really the drink. It's the crack that you might miss.
Yeah,
There's a FOMO there. So, and
Yeah.
maybe that is to do with the alcohol. It's not really the drinking that you want. You want to enjoy yourself. You want to be
Yeah.
around people.
Yeah.
You want to have a bit of a wild night because you're a wild man. Jade goes, kids will change your attitude too. Nothing worse than a hangover when you're cranky. Well, not really. If anything, your kids have driven you to drink.
My kids are absolutely fantastic.
They are good.
But,
They're
know,
good
it's like,
kids, in fairness.
But that's another thing. If I have good time with the kids, if I bring them someplace, or
Yeah.
have time with them myself, or get them, and we have a great day or a great night, together. And next thing,
But it's again.
I like
it's,
treat myself. Oh, do you know what? You deserve a couple
but
of pints.
the treat is to be around people, I think, more than
Yeah,
and
yeah,
to,
yeah.
and to have, like, there is something uniquely Irish. There's
There is
about
an Irish thing. Yeah,
kind of getting together, having a drink,
pints,
having
yeah.
a bit of crack, slagging each
see,
other, having a laugh.
I can do that for about an hour,
Yeah,
or maybe an hour and a half. But then eventually people will, again, they'll think it's all jovial, and they're getting louder, and they're getting
on top
in
of
your
you.
face, and they're spitting in your eyes, like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
probably doing to them when you're drinking.
Yeah,
And you're like, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Excuse my language. But
you say what you want on this podcast.
yeah, well, that
mate.
is true.
This is going to be a
but
bastion of free speech.
We want to keep it as classy as possible. Stay classy, Swinford.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I would love to be able to go out and drink have a coffee, or have a water, or sparkling water, whatever, and hang around. I've done it a few times. It's tough work. It gets tough work, and you need to be in the fit of your health. You need to be actually fit to do it.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it more if you've done some fitness.
I'd rather go to the cinema.
Yeah.
Or climb a mountain.
Yeah.
Than that. So anything like, not that you'd be climbing a mountain at 2:00 in the morning, or you could be.
Possibly.
I don't know. The Reek has been climbed very late at night.
Yeah. Jesus, hard work at night now. It's worth, like, you'd need a good headlamp.
Or you might head home for a bit of riding. Now that would be a better night.
That would be very nice.
Anyway,
you know,
we'll move on swiftly.
But yeah, we're not going to be crass like that. You know. Yeah, like, but comes at a price, because the thing is, what we're talking about is
EMC is male, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. We can he announced that on the podcast.
Yeah.
EMC is male.
You're male. You're male.
It comes at a price, and I've seen for you sometimes it's a heavy price. I don't know why. Maybe sometimes for me, it can be quite a heavy, but like I feel I rationalize it sometimes better than you, if that makes sense. Like I can almost accept that I had a wild night and that I've been a bit fucking wild, and I can almost get over it.
Yeah.
Whereas it almost stews on you a little bit. Could take you a day or two to get back to yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas a couple hours, if I'm like, look, I'm just an ordinary person that just did ordinary daft things.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does, of course. And I feel for me, I have to get a long run in. If I can get someone to whip me into a long run, get a 10K in straight away,
right?
Then that helps a lot. Get the run out of the way good and early. Not one of these. I do go out and I do pretend to run. I'll do a fucking 3.5K or a 4K, which is great. Don't get me wrong. If that's what you want to do, good.
Yeah.
But when you build up a distance that I'd be used to, that isn't worth. That is just making yourself feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
I need it to be sweated out, or else just go on the beer again, because
and just accept it.
Yeah, just accept it. But again, it eventually.
Well, it's the impact on other things that you might have planned, where you might have a plan with family or friends or someone, because you've absolutely destroyed yourself.
Yeah.
The next day it's like, oh fuck off. I can't believe I'm gonna get that in the neck
Yeah. Yeah.
from whichever one. Like,
Yeah. And it's a vicious circle. It is a very vicious circle that I'd love to come off for a while. And I'm trying my best. It's not like I'm like I could go. I know for a fact that I could go. I could give up the drink in the morning.
yeah,
But I wouldn't be I've done it 1,000 times.
yeah.
Giving
It's a
up is easy.
thousand
Sure,
days off the beer.
yeah, giving up is easy. I've done it 100 times.
Yeah, yeah.
But then, where do I go? What do I do? I can't go to the live shows. I can't, like, if I go to any of these meetings, there's going to be pints thrown at me, and I literally, I'm telling you, it's like, what's wrong with him? He's not drinking. Sure, I thought he was meant to be the big drinker, and of course, then you're like, oh fuck, I'll have to have one or two.
Yeah,
and of course, as I said, one or two leads into 12, 13, 14, 15. Next thing, you're on shots, you're on whatever, you're back at someone's gaff, you're drinking more. you know.
Well,
so,
we all know what that means, guys.
yeah.
What's your guy? EMAC goes. You lose a lot of friends when you're giving up the drink. To be honest, mate, if you lost friends because you gave a drink, you didn't.
Yeah.
They weren't friends in the first place.
Yeah, that is true.
Your real friends
Your
are
real
going to be
friends,
there
yeah,
no
are
matter
gonna
what.
stick with you.
So don't worry about that.
And as I said in one of my posts last week, one friend that sticks with you under pressure is worth 100 under pleasure.
Oh, 100%.
So,
and like, we've all had those kind of fly by night friends.
Yeah,
that you think that
they come and go. They're part of life.
They're part of life. But the ones that are going to be there, they'll be there no matter what happens anyway. Paul Hurley says, "How are the lads? The lads are very well.
We're good, Paul. Thank you very much for asking." We're talking about drinking, the effects of drink, good and bad.
Have you ever had nights you don't remember blackouts?
Oh, stop.
God. Me and you are awful bad.
Shocking bad.
We're shocking bad.
We shouldn't be saying this because next time people see us out and they're like, the next day they'll be like, "Do you remember doing that?" It didn't happen at all.
Yeah,
which has happened as well.
Yeah, that's happened a lot now.
Have I had nights out that I don't remember? I would say there is a good 3 years of my early 20s that I don't remember at all.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like the things
don't remember. I was drunk before I went out.
Oh,
yeah,
flaming
at an awful house, especially in Galway when I was living in Galway.
Galway and Sligo they used to be wild for
because the drink has gone so expensive. Young people are getting drunk, and worse, probably drugs, because it's nearly cheaper at this stage.
At least you remember a bit more with the drugs.
Yeah. You're not meant to admit that, Chris, but
just gonna tell you how it is. I'm not gonna. We're all friends here. We're all friends here. You know. It's Joe. It's a horrendous feeling.
Yeah.
Like it's that.
But also, there's been nights that people will say, this is the flip side of it. The people say you were unreal last night.
Oh,
the crack, you had women dripping off you.
Yeah.
This is years ago.
Oh, you were hilarious last night.
You were brilliant, and you're like, was I?
I can't even remember walking out the door.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It's a very strange circle, but I do know that it's getting. It's the knock-on effect of it is getting harder and harder. Some people can function with it, but it's rare, or they think they can function with it. Saw Cowboy in Cork. Great night. Thank you very much, Paul. What night was that, Paul? Because I played Cork.
Was it 4 times this year? 5
No,
times?
More.
Really?
At least 10, if not more than 10.
Connor Walsh says, we're terrible people for extremes, on it or off it. True. Different sides of the same coin.
Yeah. Tip
away, don't drag the arse out of it, you'll be grand. 100%. It's all duck, no dinner.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's yeah, exactly. It's all duck, no dinner.
It's and do you know what?
Find a balance.
But like there's something lovely and edgy about that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, like you could go off it and have just complete dedication to what you want to do, and then one night of just absolute nonsense.
Yeah. Like some very good decisions have been made with drink.
The night of the floods.
The night of the floods. Oh, perfect. That was in the Cork Opera House. A very good night. It could have been better if the floods hadn't happened, because unfortunately a lot of people didn't get to the show.
Yeah.
I think like 120, but it was still a great crowd. Period. I
Positive
just turned Northern
energy.
Irish there.
Positive energy mod says, haha, imagine the amount of women you shifted that you haven't even a clue about. They'd
Yeah,
be
I
writing a
wouldn't.
book.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure when.
I'm sure they enjoyed it.
I'm sure they did.
I hope they did.
I hope they enjoyed it as much as I can't remember it.
Yeah, lots of young people more into fitness now. You might see records.
I
True.
hope so.
Yeah, I think there is. I think
There is. Oh, there definitely
there's a
is,
better
but
education.
Maybe not enough.
I think there's a better
But again, there's a balance there too.
like we like often what I remember is like the other thing is it's totally different now. When we were coming into drinking age was the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And the culture around drinking was totally different. Like this town used to be wild.
Wild. But every rural town was.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
Yeah,
Sunday.
yeah.
Sunday was the best day. And then a lot of times the lads just used to roll into Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, but somehow everything seemed to work better.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's
everyone seemed to have money.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing was that drink then didn't seem to. I don't know if drink has got stronger or there's more sulfite in it or something that is making people more dafter, or like you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe they're not. The things aren't as pure. There's more
Yeah, I don't
additives
know.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. I know that Czech beer is meant to be the least.
Well, they
beer
say
that'll give you a
that about
hangover.
anything local or German or oh well, it's 3 basic ingredients and that's it. Tell you this much, I was at Oktoberfest. Like, it might have been the purest of pure, but I drank enough of it to fucking absolutely destroy myself. So
Yeah.
it didn't matter.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
I was
again,
ruined the next day. I was like
it all
a
depends,
shell
like,
of myself. Like,
normal persons.
I know
intake wouldn't
the
be,
lad I
might be
went
different.
with, he shat himself.
Oh, nice.
So
Lovely.
you drink enough of it, that pure stuff, and it'll absolutely ruin you too.
Yeah.
So
that is true. Kent scores OMG. What was that about, Kent? I can't remember now. And kids are taking schnackta now. Yes, they are. Everyone, it's all over the place.
It's everywhere. Every small town and
it's
village.
nearly pressed on you now as much as pints.
Yeah,
like, and you know
what? People are trying to be sound, but like
I know they are. I know they're trying to be sound, but like if someone wants schnackta, they'll ask for it or they'll get it themselves. There's a big pressure on people.
Will we be doing a Christmas stream? Rachel asked. Oh, we could come in. Yeah, we'll cruise in on Christmas Day and have a Christmas drink.
I would love to.
Why not? It's quite a nice, quiet day.
That is a great idea.
Tell us what time suits you or whatever. Rachel, how's things in Australia? Hope everything's going well for you down there.
What part of Australia was it? Sydney?
Sydney, I think, yeah.
I think Sydney. Or was it Melbourne? Could be both wrong.
Stay Green Pony Boy says
Positive Energy says yes, I loved it. That must have been
the shift that was done.
Very good. Tell us more. Tell us more.
Remind us, was it the two of us?
Remind me. Is powder, lads. It's rampant. A white Christmas guaranteed. The stuff is lethal, not judging. Done it myself. It's just picking up a notch. Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
I have never ever bought it. Yeah, I've dabbled in it myself. Again, as I said, it's after live shows. People are literally sticking it up your nose. You just try and stay off it as much as humanly possible. In fact, I have pretended to take it.
Yeah, I can.
Does that make sense?
That. Well,
but anyway,
yeah. Instead of going into all the serious drug track, but like it is everywhere, and like to be honest, it's never going away.
No, it's not going to go away.
So what do you do?
I don't know.
Do you go and criminalize it and do what America have done? And basically just incarcerate millions of people? That doesn't fix anything?
Yeah, it doesn't. And all it's doing is blocking up our. I've really no idea how to.
Well, you could go like Portugal and decriminalize it and trying to turn it into a health.
How has that worked for Portugal?
Typically very well. What they've done is they've treated it as a health issue.
Okay.
So they've gone around it. They've tried to educate young people on the issues. There's other countries that have gone the same way and taken smaller approaches, but like it seems to be the more effective way. The more you criminalize it, the more you're driving into the hands of criminals,
Yeah.
and then you're taking it out of any sort of regulation. So like there's a lot to be said. State Green Ponyboy asked, "What's the legal status on Mary Jane in Ireland these days?" So, like, marijuana is illegal, but
But
it's not
it's
really
illegal, but
criminalized that hard.
it's illegal, but it's not really like
Well, the consumer isn't really
no,
gone
no,
after,
no, no,
but
no.
there's large quantities that are picked up in small villages out in Tipperary and Kerry
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Mayo or Donegal, where
It was
these grow
actually
houses there.
a big haul up here a few years ago. It was in the Hardy Books.
Yeah,
It was in
in the middle of
yeah,
town.
and during the snows of the hard snow. It was the only building in the entire town that didn't have snow on
Yeah.
its roof.
Yeah,
So
easily picked out.
yeah,
But
for
but
a
like
week.
you get rid of those grow houses if it's regulated by someone that can grow
That is
marijuana.
true. That is true. Now I wouldn't.
You basically turn it into a farm product.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. Not because I
Just-
don't. I've never smoked. No,
Yeah.
I've obviously smoked a few joints, but I've never smoked a cigarette, so it's not my thing.
Yeah.
It's just the way I am.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I will tune in. Cameron Taylor, 2 Flag, looking well in the back. Yes,
It was a good night.
it was a great night. We might as well. You know what? We were meant to do a podcast about it. We might as well have 5 minutes
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it. And then we'll talk a little bit about Shane MacGowan, and then we'll wrap it up.
Sure.
So the Cameron Taylor fight, it was some night. We touched on it earlier on. We were brought up by Forge Stout. We were brought up for the 2 nights, but as I said, the Friday night was cancelled due to the riots. And we went in.
Your thoughts on Forged Irish Stout having an actual pint of it?
But again, it was in a plastic cup,
glass, yeah.
plastic glass, and it was free pour. It was like they couldn't pull them fast enough. You didn't have to pay for it. They were just pouring them. We were like in a segregated area where we got these like VIP bands brought in, and they were pouring them. I need to get to a proper pub to really check it out. But are they as good as Guinness? Not from what I've had at the minute, but they're getting there. Were they as good as Island's Edge when it was out? Better than Island's Edge, 100%.
Yeah.
I mentioned a Brennan Stout, very good stout for anyone that wants to try something different than Guinness and wants to try stout. Check it out. It should be. It's probably back in Ireland now.
Forged Irish Stout is brewed by a very reputable and very well established brewery in Ireland.
Yeah, Porterhouse Stout.
Like I've been drinking in the Porterhouse in Dublin for years. They've always had Porterhouse playing on tap. That's basically what it is. But it's a good stout.
It's a good stout. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. I mean, say what you want about the Black
probably
Forest,
has
say
a
what you
bit
want
more-
about Conor McGregor, but if we're talking
the
pints,
product.
yeah, if we're talking the product,
It's fine. Like
yeah, it's fine. Yeah,
You know?
100%. It's one of the. It's probably the best mass-produced stout to come close to Guinness.
is Murphy Stout popular in Ireland? In the south, it is.
In the south, and it's creeping in. It is creeping in to other pubs dotted around, not every place, but it's definitely creeping into other counties in Ireland. I know that it's up in a couple in Donegal now. They also it's the only stout you can get in the Tree Arena, which is weird because Forged Stout are promoting an awful lot, but you have to go to the VIP section to get the.
Yeah, so the way that works is that
it's made by Heineken.
Heineken own Murphy's. They go to the arena and go, "We'll have our products." They obviously sign an agreement and to pay. So every time there's a gig there, their product are the ones on mass production. Like now, the VIP area, that's only there for certain for the fights.
Yeah.
Those you can get VIP passes or bands, but basically it's a dinner and it's an upstairs lounge where you have the same beers that you would have downstairs.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, getting on to the night, it was a great card. It
was good fun.
It was a complete Irish whitewash.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which was brilliant. Now we missed. I would have liked to have seen Emmett Brennan.
Yeah.
It was the only fight that I didn't see that I would have liked to have seen. Though I think there was a couple of other fights on that might have been there was a couple of underage fights on. I'm not sure, but I know that Emmett Brennan was on. As
Yeah.
you said, he was probably put on for the preliminaries.
Yeah, plus
juiced
they
them up a
what I
bit.
found out after the fact was they had the first 2 or 3 fights on live on YouTube for free,
Okay.
and Emma Brennan was on that
Yeah.
because he would have had a bit of a following from the Olympics,
Yes.
and then he went to so basically to try and like anything. Well, we're going to finish the rest on Patreon. They go, oh, we're going to have the rest on pay-per-view, but we're going to be starting on YouTube. So if you want to watch Emmett's fight, it's actually on YouTube
Oh,
for free.
it is,
Anyway.
okay. Okay. And then it went into the first fight was
The first fight we saw was
saw
Thomas Carty.
Thomas Carty, yeah. And he seems like a right character.
He looks like good crack, yeah.
Yeah, he looks like good crack.
He
I've been
had
following him a while on Instagram, and he seems like great crack. And he seems like a good boxer. I wouldn't like to get a belt off him. He's all there.
he's a big boy.
Yeah, he's a very big guy, and hopefully the future is bright from. Is he defeated? I think he's undefeated.
Undefeated, yeah.
Yeah.
Undefeated.
So look out for him, Thomas Carty. It's Carty, isn't it? Not
Carty,
McCarthy.
yeah, Carty.
Then
Donovan.
Was he on next?
I think so.
What's his first? Is it Ray Donovan? No, Ray Donovan was the Netflix series.
Yeah.
Donovan,
Paddy Donovan. Paddy the real deal
Yeah,
Donovan.
yeah. Was he the lad wearing the dress?
Yes.
Paddy, well done, Connor. Yeah, he was wearing the dress, very flamboyant. When I say he was wearing the dress, he had these boxers on that I thought they were like boxers on top of boxers, but it was like stuff flailing around the place.
Yeah.
It was tassels coming off and everything. I didn't even think they were allowed in boxing.
They are, yeah.
But apparently, obviously, they are.
Yeah, Connor Walsh, right. Trained by Andy Lee.
Yeah.
Andy Lee, he's also a Limerick man.
That is true. And he's also undefeated.
Yes.
Yeah, and he won his fight that night too. There was also
he was the most spectacular fighter of the night.
Yeah.
He had a big knockout.
Yeah.
He looked really sharp.
I caught the actual knockout on I happened to take a couple of videos, and I just thought I just had a feeling he was going to just turn it on.
Yeah.
To whatever way he was dancing. I just thought he was going to turn it on, and bang, he just went on and he just finished him off.
Yeah.
Who else was on?
Cully,
yeah. He
had a tight fight.
He had a very tight fight. A lot of people said that it was tighter than the score
they expected.
Oh
no, it was a split decision. He was fighting a lad from Doncaster in the UK who's good. He won the European title, and then the big one, Chantel.
That was the big one. There was one more. There was one other one there as well, but I can't remember. We seen 5 fights, didn't we?
I can't remember.
Yeah, but anyway, we'll go on. We'll skip on.
And then
we'll
the
go
big one, Chantel Cameron and Katie Taylor.
Yeah, it was by then it had filled out.
The atmosphere.
The atmosphere was incredible.
I've actually never. I think that was one of the best atmospheres I've ever been at any sporting event.
Oh yeah,
I think it's up there with.
That would have been that's a high standard because you've been to a lot.
But I think Katie just. I think the whole thing was electric.
Yeah,
there was like a real edge to it, and like the crowd.
The build up to it, the production for the songs on first.
Oh man,
the little interviews. There was an interview that you probably didn't see.
Yeah.
That Cameron Taylor felt. She said she felt that she shouldn't have to give Katie Taylor a rematch. That she didn't deserve it. Obviously that was done to.
Just try it. Yeah,
of course. And then Katie Taylor come on first because she's obviously the challenger.
Yeah.
She came on first to an unbelievable reception, and then Cameron came on, and she didn't get a bad reception.
No. I think it was drowned out by the ole oles for Katie. You know, her walkout music, the crowd were going ole ole ole.
Yeah. She has this sort of biblical.
Katie Taylor, did. Yeah, but I mean Chantel Cameron, when she came out, the crowd was still in the ole oles, and they were.
Yeah. Well, that was always going to happen. But what shocked me was it took until the Katie Taylor fight for the three arena to get completely full.
Yeah, but that's a normal enough event in boxing. Yeah.
Okay. But she came out then.
Performance wise, I thought Katie was
unbelievable.
Incredible.
She definitely had the first, in my opinion, couple of rounds. She may have lost, I think it was 4th or 5th. Then she took on the next three. She may have got tired on the ninth
I
and
think
10th,
I think the last
but
two.
she had definitely by the last two judges were closer to it than obviously this.
There was one that had lost his mind.
Yeah,
but he'd
like,
also lost his
anyone
mind
watching
in
it.
the Cully fight as well.
Yeah,
Same judge had the wrong view of the Cully fight.
Anyone thought that if you're going by rounds that fight was close. Well, obviously you were biased.
Yeah, I had it 7-3 in favor.
That would have been about it. Yeah,
I think she won one round between 4 or 5. I can't remember, and then the last two.
that's right. Yeah, the
Clear,
last
like
two.
at the end of the day, Chantal
And even
Cameron.
then they were tight.
But Chantal Cameron was also like, there is a thing about her Katie fighting at home.
Yeah, well,
so
like any
so
fighter fighting
Chantal
at home.
Cameron has to overcome. She has to clearly win, like she did in the first fight. She has to clearly
did.
win round after round.
And she deserved to win the first fight.
Definitely.
She definitely did. She was the better fighter that day. There was no doubt about it.
Yeah, and Katie was.
And even
Katie's
your hardest Katie Taylor.
Oh no one was. It was closer than
that.
it was closer than the Katie one, the second fight. The first fight was closer than the second fight.
Yeah, 100%. But no, because a lot of people said, "Oh, she done it by the skin of her teeth," and I was like, but I think they were just doing it just to rise people. There was no way that fight was anywhere close.
Connor says Katie was brilliant. In fairness, though,
she was.
By the letter of first round, she was knocked down. Cameron hard done on that front. Yeah, like, to be honest, it looked like to be honest, it's impossible to see at the time whether it's a slip or not from up in the stands.
I felt it was a slip, but
like watching it back, it could have been. I think she was just unbalanced. Maybe it was slip. Maybe it was. I didn't look at it that closely, to be honest. On the second watching, Paul O'Hurley, have you seen the Tyson Fury documentary on Netflix?
No, not yet. I must check it out. There's a lot of documentaries. I don't know why my voice is doing that. Documentaries that I want to check out.
Maybe you're thinking you're in Kansas.
Maybe I did. But yeah, and there's another thing there. Stephen, do the comedy gigs now full time? I was up until this month. I'm taking a little bit of a break to try and get new material down.
How's that going?
It's going grand. If I could stay off the drink and get her into a proper flow, I know it'll come when it needs to come.
Yeah. Sometimes you need a bit of pressure to make that happen as well.
You do.
So maybe book an old
actually
or something.
There's if you're interested, Wednesday night there's an open mic down Sligo. Might try out some new stuff.
Cool. Might do that.
All you have to do is a few minutes.
Might do that as well.
But anyway, it will be a full-time gig in 2024, 100%. Thoughts on Hop House 13? Don't like it at all. To the 21-4 Horatio. No, tried it once. Didn't like it.
Yeah, Hop House. Like, to be honest, I wouldn't be much of a lager drinker anyway.
No, neither me.
I from time to time I might have a couple of pints of lager, but very rare.
Obviously, you've tried it yourself. What do you think of it? Is it your drink of choice? Paul Hurley, have you seen? No, you've already done that. The Tyson Fury fight, no. Kent, grand boxing for you, the Golden Bachelor for us.
For us in the US. God help us. Grand boxing. All right. So
what's the Golden Bachelor?
I don't know. I'd go and watch it live. Golden Bachelor. Got to talk to this woman so she goes weak at the knees.
Yeah. Tell us more, Kent.
Big UFC fight.
Is that is the Golden Bachelor like a program?
Possibly.
Mitzi Turbo, maybe. Back in the day.
Young men.
The greatest, in my opinion, Hardy Bucks episode.
Because you're in the middle of all of it.
Yeah. Big UFC this weekend. Will you watch?
I like to watch the UFC.
That's on Saturday night?
Yeah.
I will be at my own UFC live in Dublin with Cage Legacy.
That'll be good fun.
So that'll be good crack. That is going to be good fun. I'm getting into this. I'm starting to pop up at all these boxing and fighting events. You never know. Next thing I might put on the gloves myself or take them off. One or the other.
Yeah, you put them on. I'll be in the corner. I'll be like, you can do it, cowboy. Come on,
5 minutes later, I'm knocked out for life. Knocked out for life.
Like, should he have done it? He's had an aneurysm. Fuck it. There's a few sense.
I would love to.
There's no sense there anyway.
I would love to. I would love to get back in the ring. So I would give it a go. Whether they'd let me, I don't know. Finding old love. We've ran out of young shows. Is that what it is?
Wow.
Fuck me. Make a show about anything these days.
That's unreal.
I totally agree. Passed through Swinford and saw the ball alley. Yes,
it was home from home.
It was. You could get the shift there. You could get the ride, or you could have a fight.
Or
Probably
you could play
sometimes
handball.
or you could
like
play handball.
That was the last thing that you were thinking.
And that might be all with the same person.
Yeah, with me.
But yeah, it's a good out spot. There's many a memory and many a dream was made and broken in the ball alley.
True that. You sound
I'm meeting the ball alley after
Kevin
mass.
Garrity. That's like something he would say.
And there'll be 20 ball lads after me. And that's just the menu from the women. But
right,
yeah, we'll talk a little bit about Shane MacGowan.
Yeah.
And then we'll wrap it up.
Did you see any of the funeral?
I did. Of course I did. Massive fan of Shane MacGowan. And getting back to the drink. There's a man that made a life out of drinking, for better or worse.
He had decided very early that it wasn't worth living without drinking his hand.
So for him, it was his life. He didn't have kids.
No.
Would that have been different if he had kids?
Possibly.
You'd like to think so.
But he was.
But he
what
made,
a hallion like.
Yeah, he made his life, and that was it. I mean, he didn't try and dress it up. He didn't try to be anything different. And if you're going drinking, that's probably the way to do it.
Oh, without it, to be honest,
would he have been?
Would he have been
was such a genius without the drink? Maybe not.
To be honest, what a beautiful send off to be dancing in the aisles of the church.
Yeah,
to the greatest Christmas song of all time, which was beautiful,
which was done as a bet, wasn't it?
Well, he actually took him, and there was another fellow that wrote the song, and it was in two different parts. They tried to meld them together. It took them 2 years to write the song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now the story goes that it was Elvis Costello that bet him.
So Elvis Costello was the producer on the earlier Pogues album.
Oh, I didn't know that now.
So he was the producer on not Rum Sodomy and the Lash, but I think As I Fall from the Grace of God.
Yeah. Okay.
So he was the producer on that album, and he wanted to do a Christmas. He wanted to get Shane to write Christmas #1, and he kind of had a couple of stabs at it, and then he wrote, I think, all the slower parts, and the faster parts were almost done with a fellow called Benny Fury or something like. I can't remember the man's name. It's
some story. His life is some story, but for me, he was a memory. He was like a memory of late 80s, early 90s, going into town with. I know this sounds terrible, but back then it was the done thing. Going into town with your uncles, your father. My mother didn't go out much, but when she did, she enjoyed a few drinks. But it was, I'd say you could count on both hands the amount of times she went out in a year. But my father liked going out and especially I had uncles, no more than my father, absolute legends. And
some
great
crack.
Absolutely great crack. Now, they were known as the Mad Kellys, so they weren't known as the Mad Kellys for no reason. The problem with the great crack was sometimes it might boil over.
Yeah, it might kick off every now and again.
Every now and again.
Sometimes you need to be on the edge.
Wild, big fellas as well.
Yeah.
I'll just let your imagination go with the rest. But like Shane MacGowan was always in the background on the jukebox, because back then there was fucking jukeboxes that you could put money into and you could pick your songs.
There was something like one thing about him was obviously he was I bought 2 great albums. I remember the day I bought Rum Sodomy and the Lash in Castlebar in Tower Records in Castlebar. I remember the day that I went in there, I bought that, and I bought Kill 'Em All by Metallica. I was probably 14. And if I remember that day,
what a lovely name for an album.
I listened to Rum Sodomy and the Lash day in, day out. It is one of the great albums of all time.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And I love the Pogues. He was a punk, and he brought something different to Irish music. Like
He did.
there was almost a snobbery about Irish music by, this new Irish of the 70s and 80s. They were like, oh, we're going to leave that idea behind of being drunkards and navvy men and all
Yeah.
that type of stuff. And there was a pushback from the Gay Burns of the world
Right.
against the Pogues,
The rock
because
show drinkers.
yeah.
No, I don't mean
So
that. Or do I?
he was real,
Yeah, he was real, and he stuck to his guns. And
and he was a poet.
a poet, I'd say more a poet than anything.
He was
And then it's the odd person will say, "Oh, sure, he was born in England," but as one of the greatest Britons who was born in Ireland once said, "Just because you're born in a stable doesn't make you a donkey."
true.
So,
So I'll remind you of that when you bring up the fact that I was born in England. Not my fault for
God damn
where I
it,
was born.
I let that one slip.
Yeah, is Gay Byrne was very supportive of the Pogues. Come on, yeah, he was in the 90s when they were a big band and they had proved themselves.
Well, I think
But
he
if
used that as
I used that as
as
his class of people.
yeah.
There was a snobbery about the Pogues, especially early on, big
Yeah.
time. If you watch that first interview of Gay Byrne having them on the Late Late Show in the early 80s, you see a very different
Okay.
way of speaking to them.
Okay.
So
Well,
and
but
obviously
I do know that
he
Jim.
was
I know
actually
that
born
he
in
said,
Tipperary.
"Oh, he was born in Tipperary."
Born in Tipperary, he moved there when he was young.
Okay. I actually thought he was born in
He
England.
he
And he
grew
was brought over to.
he grew up. They lived in what was the name of the village? I was actually on. But yeah, his early memories was of sessions in the house, and the
Yeah.
MacGowan house was a session house.
Yeah, and he wasn't adopted, was he?
No, no.
No. Okay, because I heard like years ago, I heard a rumor that he was adopted. Obviously, that's not
Yeah,
that true.
he wasn't born in Nina. He was born in Tipperary, North Tipperary.
Okay. Positive Energy says Johnny Depp was Shane's best man at his wedding in 2018. Yeah, apparently, not apparently, there was no apparently about it. They were best friends, which was absolutely unbelievable to see. Absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, what a best friend to have.
That's true.
another
Positive
legend.
Energy, born on Christmas Day.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
born
we'll
on
definitely have
Christmas
to come
Day.
in. So and
Oh, we'll have to have
and
a drink for
a
Shane
creamy
on
pint
Christmas
for
Day.
Shane McGowan.
I like,
Day.
and to be honest, when I started playing guitar, I almost fell in love with playing Shane McGowan songs. I like, you kind of go through phases of everything, but when you start playing music, playing Pogue's songs I love it.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, and obviously Fairy Tale New York.
it's-
EMC he gets 500,000 per year for Fairy Tale of New York. I always wondered how much he did get.
He earned every penny of it.
He did. Manda, I don't agree with dancing in the aisles being beautiful. Yes, it was, but not in a chapel. Could have done it somewhere else. I don't know. I think we're progressing in that, and I think that look, your attitude is and your opinion is relevant and as important as anyone's. But in my opinion, I think it's time to.
I think it was spontaneous.
Yeah, and also, if you go to a black church who are very Christian,
Yeah,
you will see an awful lot of that.
Yeah,
You know, whatever branch of Christianity there, and I'm sure there's Catholics in it too.
I think the thing is about, like, look, obviously we're a different type of Ireland, and seeing people like,
and I think if the church embraced that,
a friend of ours died a couple of years ago, and not to get, it was the day of it was more of a celebration of his life.
Yeah, not Connor,
and
no?
yeah,
Connor Walsh. So when actually Connor Walsh popped up on the
I know,
feed here, you always think, he always reminds you. Obviously, it's not Connor Walsh.
When Connor died, like, and I've talked to his brothers since about that, I was like, it was really the day he would have wanted us to have as a friend group and his family and stuff, where they really enjoyed themselves. They had the celebration of his life. Obviously tragic. He was a young man, and that was heartbreaking, and it was a shock to everyone. But it's important to have a celebration of someone's life.
Yeah, and I think that helps with the grieving process.
Yeah.
as well.
And you could
long
tell
term.
that the people that were in the church were there to because Shane was a man of he was out to enjoy himself.
And I think he would have. I think he would have enjoyed that himself. And I think, like, he had a sense of humor.
Yeah.
And he was a sensitive soul and a very generous soul. He gave an awful
Yeah.
lot of charity without.
I remember watching a
making a
documentary
big
years
announcement about
ago,
it.
and the amount, like, everyone was like, there was lots of really amazing people talking about him. So Shane and Sinead O'Connor was interviewed, and obviously Sinead's passed on, and a number of them mentioned about how after a gig he might go for a walk, and first, if he sees anyone down out or struggling or
Mhm.
whatever, he would give them all the money out of his pockets.
Yeah.
Because he had this idea that he would probably be there himself, and that he'll make a couple of pounds because he might be able to nab a guitar or someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah,
that
yeah.
would get him by just about to get a couple of pints.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure I'd say many pubs he went into, he didn't need to put his hand in his pocket at all. Born in Nina. No, you said
I think he's North Tipperary.
North Tipperary. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Which again, I don't know.
Jim Banda says he was born in the UK. Is that you're on about Shane MacGowan? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I watched in a documentary before where he said that he was actually he was born in Tipperary.
Okay.
I think he lived there till he was maybe 4 or something like that, and then grew up in the UK.
Yeah.
They were down.
Apparently, he was the voice. Well, no, apparently about it again. He was the voice of the Irish in London.
Yes,
Yeah,
100%.
especially in London.
Yeah.
His film documentary Crock of Gold is excellent. First half an hour is an animation. No way.
I haven't actually got a chance to.
Is it on Netflix?
I don't know. That probably will end up on Netflix or one of the streaming platforms.
If it was, I'll actually, when I'm done up tonight, I would
I'd watch that. Yeah.
I'd nearly watch that.
He always gave a few £100 to the poor box in the bookshops around Dublin. That again, that's not surprising at all. He was very good. Again, he always, I think he appreciated being the voice of, the working man, or that being that approach.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him in Dublin, like walking down the street.
Oh yeah, okay.
I was in Walton's music shop, and I was coming out and walking down the street past me, and he was in this big long trench coat, black leather trench coat, but obviously was a bit ill fitting because he had gone so small.
Yeah.
And he was with his wife, and I just said hello, to be honest.
Yeah,
but I didn't interrupt him or anything. But what cool guy.
Shane would have absolutely loved the celebration of his life. I have no doubt he would. Very religious man too. I didn't realize that. Jim says he was born in Pimbury in the UK. We'll have to leave that one.
Yeah.
We'll have to leave that one. We'll have to agree to disagree. We have two different opinions on where he was born, but we will address that some other time. That is pretty much it. We'll wrap it up at that. We're on an hour and 15 minutes. It has been a pleasure.
Please subscribe and like the video if you've enjoyed it. We've really enjoyed your comments tonight, guys. It's 100%. Been awesome. We always do.
It's great to get so many people on. Before you go, any states or Canada gigs announced for 2024, I need to get on that, Kent. I thought I was going back in January, but we're going to have to push that. It's coming up it's coming up too soon, but we'll push it again. And I know that you have a couple of messages left on the Instagram. I will address them as well. I love traveling. It's just to make it financially viable as well. That has to be.
All the gigs will be announced on Instagram.
All on Instagram, on the 3 Bucks Left page, Facebook,
and the Deadhead
Jugs. Yeah, of course. And February gigs yet? I don't think there's any gigs in February announced.
But yeah, look.
Anyway, listen. There'll be a full list. There'll be a full list. I need to get working on them too. There's no point writing a new show and no gigs announced.
True.
So we will have to
we'll
get on
piece
that.
It all together. Now,
I have
guys.
a couple of people working on that because it's got so big that I can't keep it all going myself. If that makes sense. So thanks very much for tuning in, guys. Karen, Lar, thanks, lads.
Shannon.
Thank you very much, Shannon. Hope all is
Jade,
well, Shannon.
Jim,
Mary, Hashmus, very good. Give us the heads up next time. We did give the heads up, Jim. We definitely give the heads up.
We try.
We always go on Instagram or Facebook first to give the heads up when we're going live. The podcast is
Michael, thank you very
amazing.
much.
Should
That's
be
really
much
cool.
more viewers. We will get there. Listen, it's YouTube is notoriously hard to get people onto. So we're just building it up every so often. Kent, thank you so much, and thank you so much for viewing and subscribing and liking. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy.
And stay away from yourself.
Good luck.